I did the unthinkable, Finley. The night was thick with an eerie silence as I strolled down the narrow, winding paths of a Balinese village. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an otherworldly glow on the thatched roofs and swaying palm trees. My footsteps echoed softly, the only disturbance in the stillness of the night. I was a curious traveler, drawn to the mystique of Balinese culture and its rich folklore. The villagers had warned me about venturing out after dark, speaking in hushed tones about the supernatural beings that lurked in the shadows. Leyak, they called it, a creature with a taste for the unknown. Ignoring their warnings, I pressed on, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The air felt charged with an unseen energy, and a chill ran down my spine. Unfazed, I convinced myself it was just the cool night breeze playing tricks on my senses. As I turned a corner, I caught sight of an abandoned ancient temple bathed in an ethereal glow. Intrigued, I approached it cautiously, the ancient stones showing the signs of the tales of a bygone era, where skilled hands had meticulously crafted each stone, etching tales of gods and demons into the very fabric of the temple's walls. The air grew heavier, and an uneasy feeling settled in the pit of my stomach. I hesitated but pushed forward, my curiosity overpowering the growing sense of unease. As I stepped into the courtyard, the first thing that caught my eye were the strange carvings adorning the weathered walls. Each carving told a story, a cosmic narrative of battles between deities, mythical creatures, and the eternal dance of creation and destruction. Fascinating. The gods were portrayed with divine elegance, their features chiseled with a masterful hand. Their expressions ranged from benevolence to wrath, capturing the essence of their mythical personas. Scenes of celestial wars unfolded in intricate detail, and divine beings clashed with demonic forces in a timeless struggle for cosmic balance. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the gaze of the ancient carvings penetrating my very being. It was as if the spirits of the temple had awakened, their silent eyes bearing witness to the trespasser in their sacred space. The stones themselves seemed to vibrate with energy. The details were so finely etched that I could almost feel the textures under my fingertips, the roughness of demon skin, the flowing robes of celestial beings, and the intricacies of divine weapons. As I continued exploring, a distant sound reached my ears, a haunting melody that seemed to emerge from the very soul of the temple. It was a mesmerizing, otherworldly tune that called me further into the darkness. Compelled by an unseen force, I followed the haunting melody deeper into the temple grounds. As I ventured deeper into the temple grounds, the air transformed into an oppressive force, thick with an energy that seemed to weigh down on me. The oppressive energy seemed to seep into my very bones, making each step a struggle against an unseen force. A foul stench hung in the humid night air, intensifying the feeling of unease that already gripped me. I could almost taste the stagnant air. As I stumbled forward, navigating through the paths of the temple, the oppressive energy seemed to guide me towards a clearing which was bathed in an ethereal light that emanated from the very ground beneath the twisted banyan tree. There, beneath the gnarled branches, I saw her, a beautiful woman with flowing black hair that seemed to dance in an unseen wind. Her eyes blazed with an otherworldly fire, a mesmerizing glow that held a hypnotic power. She floated above the ground, defying the laws of gravity, as if the very earth dared not touch her. The ethereal beauty of her form contradicted the unpleasant aura that surrounded her like a dark halo. The leaves rustled with a whisper, as if the spirits of the tree were conspiring with the mysterious woman who defied the laws of nature. Her gaze met mine, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Those fiery eyes held a knowledge that surpassed the ages, a depth of wisdom tainted by a darkness that sent a chill through my very soul. Fear gripped me as I realized I was face to face with the Leyak. Her disembodied head hovered above her entrails, and her ghostly tail swirled around her like a sinister dance. The haunting melody intensified, echoing through the night as the Leyak fixated her gaze upon me.
Who dares to trespass in my domain?
Her voice echoed in Balinese language, sending shivers that made me jump. I tried to speak, but my voice caught in my throat. The Leyak's eyes bore into mine, and I felt a cold sweat breaking out across my forehead.
You seek the unknown, outsider, but you have found the one who thrives in the shadows.
She hissed, her voice a discordant melody that seemed to resonate with the very core of my being. I stumbled backward, desperately trying to make sense of the surreal nightmare unfolding before me. The Leyak glided closer. Panic set in as I realized escape was impossible. The Leyak's voice became a haunting chant, words in an ancient tongue that echoed through the air. The temperature dropped, and the very ground beneath me seemed to pulse with a strong energy. I was caught in a spectral dance, a mere puppet in the hands of an otherworldly force. Suddenly, the Leyak's eyes flared with an intensity that sent shockwaves through my soul.
You carry the stench of fear, mortal.
She whispered, her voice was a venomous hiss.
But fear is not enough. I crave something more.
With a swift movement, the Leyak's ghostly tail reached towards me, its icy touch sending a jolt of terror through my veins. I tried to break free, but an invisible force held me in place, rendering me helpless against the supernatural entity before me. As the Leyak's gaze bore into the depths of my soul, I felt an instinctive need to preserve my own existence. Panic surged within me, drowning out rational thought. In the desperate attempt to escape the clutches of the spectral entity, I found my trembling voice.
What do you desire?
I stammered, the words hanging in the thick air like a sacrificial plea. The Leyak's disembodied head tilted slightly, as if considering my offer. The haunting melody, now a sinister lullaby, echoed through the night, creating an unsettling backdrop to our macabre negotiation. The ghostly tale continued its hypnotic dance, weaving an ethereal tapestry that seemed to seal my fate.
You have something I crave.
The Leyak hissed, her voice a chilling whisper. In that moment, a sense of dread intensified, but the survival instinct propelled me to press further.
Name your price.
I pleaded, a quiver in my voice betraying both fear and desperation. The Leyak's fiery eyes bore into mine.
I crave the essence of mortal life, the very core of your being, a soul willingly offered in exchange for safe passage from this cursed place.
A bargain with the supernatural, a transaction that would alter the course of my existence. With a hesitant nod, I consented to the unthinkable. I whispered, my voice barely audible over the haunting melody. The pact was sealed. As the Leyak's form began to recede, her entrails and ghostly tail retracting like tendrils of mist, I felt a profound emptiness within. The weight of the exchanged soul lingered, a void that marked the cost of my survival. I stood alone in the clearing, the twisted banyan tree casting elongated shadows upon the sacred ground. I was free, but at a price that transcended the boundaries of mortal reckoning. As I stumbled away from the clearing, I carried with me the weight of a transaction that blurred the line between the living and the spectral. If you found any enjoyment in the video, I implore you to click that like button and subscribe if you dare.